You already pulled your favorite clip?
Yeah, so right here.
It's clear now more than ever that a change is needed in our government.
Right there, right there. Yeah, like that's a good crying moment. Like shows I have a range, you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, this is news coverage.
Yeah, this is like a candlelight vigil that I did. It was actually pretty moving.
Is this a mockumentary? Or...
Oh no. This is real. This is like very real. I'm a crisis actor.
What's that? What's a crisis actor?
No.
No.
Whenever there's a crisis, like a school shooting or 9/11 or like the Titanic, they need actors to play the victims because the real victims are busy like mourning and like they're not very good actors on camera and like they're not trained to push an agenda. So that's what we do.
Never waste a good crisis.
Hey man, glad to see you guys. You guys are enough the Patriots. Look at this guy, he's got permanent blood. God bless you. You good, sir? You need medical attention?
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
I got shot in the face. I got shot in the face with some kind of plastic bullet.
Any chance I could get you guys to be the same way?
We will. I've been making sure they ain't disrespecting the place.
Okay.
We've had to learn to deal with these psychopaths that are saying this stuff, that are out there claiming that we're not real people, claiming that we're actors. We don't give a shit what you say. We're not afraid.
We were dancing and I saw someone walk in and I saw the shots go off.
The first 911 call, 11:20 p.m.
Our friends got the bar stools and they started slamming it against the window so we could get out.
Only him and I know how much I love, how much I miss. Oh God, this is so...
Why would someone come into some place where people come just to have fun and to not worry about school or anything and just take over and act like it was nothing?
The first plane had hit, I saw this plane come out of nowhere and just ream right into the side of the Twin Tower, exploding through the other side. And then I witnessed both towers collapse, one first and then the second, mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
And I saw a man speaking kind of harshly to them in a loud voice saying, "It's going to be all right, it's going to be all right." And I thought it was a skit or a play or some Cub Scouts were rehearsing.
Building, we hear gunfire. I assume that it's a code red drill because they told us earlier in the day that we're going to be having a code red drill. I assumed it was blanks.
I was sitting out the back with a coffee and I just saw a plane come across and was like wobbling like that. It was probably a meter from the roof above me, so I just ran to Dan Murphy's. And then I heard the bang and I looked around, there was just flames and smoke everywhere.
You could do. Once we got over the fence, I saw a parking lot actually just behind me over here with work trucks. And typically during a festival, multiple people use a truck and they tend to leave keys. And I was hoping that was the case and lucked out on the first truck, opened the door and the keys were there and looked at Jen and said, "Let's go get some people."
When gunfire pierced classrooms, Jesse Sanders' instinct was to protect the innocent.
So I just ran to the school. And then when I get there, the dude was shooting through the windows. And I said, "Hey, why don't you shoot this way instead, you know?"
Did you
my
tell
friend,
me about that?
She was, she was the one who pushed me, and we were running, like we were already situated in the, by the bookshelf. And she's like, grab a book. So I took a book. It was a tiny book, but I took a book and I held it up. And I believe maybe the book kind of deterred some of the bullets. So it didn't hit me so badly, but she was the one who gave me the idea. Yeah, she definitely helped a lot.
It went in through the back of my head, just right, like kind of in the middle of the back of my head, and they came out right here.
So, and I just got back from like basic training from Georgia, so I looked at the guy, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to fist fight this guy, and then I didn't know he had a knife, and it was like, it looked like that, like something was sticking out of his hand, maybe the length of my thumb, and then he just came up, I braced myself, side of the head, fell down to the ground. I never went like unconscious or anything. And I felt my head, my hand was covered in blood, my blood was running down my neck and on my shirt. And I looked, there was no like official lockdown or alarm going off, there was no mall security anywhere. Everyone's panicking. And I looked at the people in Victoria's Secret and they just closed the gate right there, and I'm standing on the outside like, what am I gonna do?
You can talk to him, what would you tell him?
That you're the best friend, like you're my best friend, and nothing's gonna stop that. There's no bullet that could ever break a friendship.
After you kept him from coming back into the door, what happened after that?
Well, we had barricaded the door. I used my foot. I had tennis shoes on.
Some lady came looking for her son. I hope he's not one of the children. She said, I heard you had 6 kids here. I said, I took him to the firehouse. Her face looked frozen in pain. I've never seen anything like that. Her face looked like it was stone. I said, what is your child's name? And she gave me the name. I have to find out about that kid.
And I'm pissed. Because my daughter I'm not going to see again. She's not here. She's not here. She's in North Lauderdale at whatever it is, King David Cemetery. That's where I go to see my kid now.
It was on that Wednesday afternoon. He was in Holocaust Studies class on the first floor of the freshman building when bullets started to fly.
Desk.
Did any bullets get into your classroom?
Yes, many bullets were shot through my class. I believe 4 people were shot in my class, and 2 people actually did pass away in my class, right in front of me.
I didn't shoot the shooter, but I saw like the shots and everything. I hear them. Yeah.
And then your teacher went down?
He was just shot and he like fell down. And I saw him.
What was your teacher doing? Did he go towards the door to shut it?
He was closing the door and then he got shot.
What's his name?
Mr. Beagle from geography class.
I walked outside right there, and I looked down here. They were sitting there. They were sitting there. And I had no idea why they were there.
My nephew, he acted as a coward. And he took a lot of innocent lives. And I'm sorry, man.
During the confrontation, the church usher was pistol whipped. There was a significant struggle between the two. During the struggle, the gunman shot himself.
And there have been multiple injuries. We have one of the witnesses here, Emma, who will, yes, one of the survivors who is going to.
And
Did you hear the blast?
No.
No.
No one, I don't think any, unless you were in the carriage, you wouldn't have heard it because, just screams, running.
And obviously, it is, it does coincide with the same period that schools are reopening. So
There were lots of school children in their uniforms, and that was really heartbreaking to see some of them hurt. Hello. I've just seen my friend. I've got to go.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for talking to us.
Keep her down, and she was just so disoriented. I just remember her just like looking around because she was asleep, just looking, thinking what's going on, and just trying to keep calm so that she didn't start freaking out even more. And it was just so scary, and her face just...
I can understand an innocent night where you take your children to the theater and cheer.
I was trying to be calm.
You were going to lose your life that night, Jarrell?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Jarrell, did you think you were going to lose your life that night?
My life definitely flashed before my eyes at that moment. It was, it's hard to say because when I first was hit, that's when it got very real for me.
Jean Rosen.
Nancy, I want to be with these children. I want to read to them. I want to show them there's light away from the darkness. I want to be their grandpa, their uncle, Gene, whoever. I want to spend time with them as much as they will allow and their parents will allow. I want them to come to my home. And I just want to love them.
I've had to see people burnt, people's hair singed, clothes covered in something that looked like white cotton or a white foam or something. So maybe something exploded, but they seem to be covered in lots of debris, possibly from the
parent. And then the second child came out, and she was the sole survivor from the other class, and she was absolutely head to toe covered in blood and flesh, just hanging on her whole body. And her mother was in that parking lot that day, luckily. But when I saw her, I knew that it wasn't just a shooting, it had been a massacre. If that weapon had been in place, he wouldn't have had that gun. But what happened instead, what happened 22 decades ago was that the assault weapons ban was left to expire. And they had started at that time, the CDC had started researching on ways to prevent gun violence. And what happened instead was that the NRA and the NSSF got a hold of some of our elected officials, and they were able to get them to stop trying to find out ways to get information to prevent gun violence while we weren't looking. We weren't paying attention. They changed the laws. They let these things expire. We're gonna mess up.
Susan, the president.
Because we had a fire alarm earlier that day, and that was a drill. So we thought this was a drill too, just another one. Because we have a lot of fire alarms, a lot of fire drills at the school. After we heard the first gunshot, we initially thought it was a drill. Actually, that was a bad choice.
It's okay, you're fine.
Actually, that was a bad choice because the janitor. Sorry.
It's okay, you're fine, David. You're fine.
Honestly, when I was going out, I was kind of in, I was in, hold on. When I was going out, I was in shock.
I don't know how to put this in perspective. It's okay.
So most of my friends that made it out, one of them went into a bathroom in the same, I believe in the same hallway as the shooter. Well, hold on. One of them went into the same bathroom, I believe, as the hallway shooter. He was in there at the same time, and he was in the bathroom, and he didn't know if he was going to live.
This is a club that nobody wants to be in. And please, could we do something with the assault weapons so that we could stop this club from ever getting any new members?
My son was in Las Vegas with a lot of his friends, and he came home.
And I'm disgusted! I'm a professor! How dare you! How dare you become the assholes! Protect neo-Nazis!
If he's been shot, if he's dead, no one knows. But they told me there are fatalities.
Cuff you! Cuff you! Cuff you!
He didn't come home last night, and I don't want prayers. I don't want thoughts. I want gun control, and I hope to God nobody else sends me any more prayers.
These are kids who are trying to learn about humanity. They're trying to learn about human rights and against racism and xenophobia and LGBTQ rights. And you're letting these neo-Nazis near here. You should kick their ass.
But he was sitting right next to his boyfriend, and his boyfriend definitely was shot with multiple gunshots and taken in the ambulance.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. You should. That's you. That's no bitch. It's not up to these students to kick the ass of a neo-Nazi.
I want gun control. No more guns.
You hung on to a drawing that George Floyd, who back then you called Perry, made along with an essay for 38 years, and you have it today with you. Can you show us this?
Yes, I can. Here's his drawing.
I had come into school, I just gotten off the bus, and I was about to go put my things in my locker. I have a bottom locker, and I heard a loud pop, and I turned around and I saw him, and he
he was just going and he was completely passive and he was just shooting, and he shot one young man, and then I crouched down onto the floor, and I'm pretty sure he shot the ceiling, and then he shot the girl next to me and she fell down, and as everyone was running I could just hear her screaming, "Help me," and she was screaming, help me," over and over, and I just stayed down, and like maybe a minute or so passed, and I looked back up and the hallway was empty and my legs were all dusty from where I shot the ceiling, and the girl next to me, she was bleeding, she'd been shot in the back.
Are you an elite? Are your staged attacks not going as planned? Are your globalist agendas failing because you're using subpar crisis actors? Well, then look no further. Hi, I'm Harrison Hanks, the ultimate crisis actor. Need a medical doctor? In 18 years as a medical examiner, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Is this one over the top? Is this one different?
Yeah, it's over the top. 33 children died. Do you need a grieving husband? Did a right-winger set off a bomb? Right, yeah, we're just milling about over there. Had a massive explosion. And I'm your man. Tired of melodramatic acting?
There's light away from the darkness.
I'm just trying to figure out if he's okay.
I lost my 20-year-old, but I had 20 years with my son.
It's just tragedy. Horror.
One of those hands is a reason why those weapons should not be out in the general public.
Because in this kind of a situation, what has changed? Have we learned nothing?
Tired of green screen mishaps and disappearing noses? Me too.
You take it. Okay.
These people saying this is absolutely disturbing, and I'm not an actor in any sense, way, shape, or form. I am the son of a former FBI agent, and that is true.
Our story unfolds where we find young Jesus de la Luz overdosing on mainstream media propaganda. The actions of religious fanatics and constant occurrences of suicide bombings and acts of world terrorism seem to have taken a toll on young Jesus's fragile mind. And finally, teetering upon the frayed ends of sanity, he eventually snaps.
The 6 o'clock news got me paranoid, suspicious of any tan man who walks with a turban. I think the man's plans to have New York burning, so I spit the blam blam where he stores his learning. And y'all can blame the newscaster while I aim for a new disaster. An Arab name is who I'm after. American history's new chapter, the end, defending the mystery of a fool's matter. George Bush comes up and the towers come down. George Bush runs amok and the power goes down. George Bush don't give a fuck as the hour comes around. So George Bush gets booked as a shower off around.
So you weren't kidding around. You actually meant that you have been paid at some point to protest?
Yeah, like
How can I get in on that?
Yeah, okay, so you go to like georgesoros.com and you just sign up right there. You put your name in, you put your email address, and there's an empty box there where you say how many times you're willing to protest and how much you want to get paid.
And you get a check directly from Soros?
Directly from Soros.
That's incredible.
Signed by him. He even invited me to lunch.
Does he sign it in blood?
He said if I'm willing to gather some more friends, I can get paid twice as much for every friend that I gather and kind of set up a pyramid scheme.
And you can get rich just based on protesting for Soros, right?
I already have, yeah. So basically, I've been organizing most of the protesting that you see in California so far, and it's all due to being paid. If I wasn't paid, I would be, skiing.
Wow, this is unbelievable.